Imagine a man with strength beyond belief, a warrior so powerful he could tear a lion apart with his bare hands, defeat an army with just a donkey's jawbone, and bring down a massive building with his own strength. Sounds like a hero from a superhero movie, right? But this is not fiction. This is the true story of Samson, one of the Bible's most fascinating and tragic characters. A man of supernatural power, yet plagued by human weakness. In today's video, we'll dive deep into Samson's story from his miraculous birth and heroic victories to his tragic downfall, and uncover powerful life lessons from his journey. Let's get into it. Samson's story begins even before his birth. In the book of Judges, Israel was oppressed by the Philistines. It was a time of chaos and despair. And during this period, God planned to raise up a powerful leader to deliver his people. Samson's parents, Manoah and his wife, were a faithful but childless couple. One day, as Manoah's wife was going about her day, an angel of the Lord appeared to her with incredible news. The angel told her that, though she was barren, she would soon conceive a son. But there was more. This child was to be dedicated to God from birth. The angel commanded her to live by a strict set of rules. She was not to drink wine or eat anything unclean, as the boy would be set apart as a Nazirite from the womb. The Nazirite vow meant that Samson would have to refrain from drinking alcohol, touching anything dead, and most importantly, never cut his hair. In exchange, he would receive God's incredible strength to fulfill his purpose. Manoah's wife ran to tell her husband, and soon after, the angel returned to confirm the instructions with Manoah as well. Together, they offered a sacrifice, and as they watched the flame rise to heaven, the angel ascended in the fire. They knew their son's life would be extraordinary and dedicated to God's service. From an early age, Samson's strength was evident. God's Spirit was with him, granting him superhuman power. One of the earliest stories of his strength occurred when a lion attacked him in the vineyards of Timnah. Samson tore the lion apart with his bare hands, leaving its carcass behind. Later, when he passed by, he noticed a swarm of bees and honey in the lion's carcass. Samson ate the honey and even shared it with his parents, breaking his Nazirite vow by touching something dead. It's a small detail, but it reveals a pattern in Samson's life, a disregard for his divine calling. Samson was blessed with great strength, but he struggled with self-discipline. His weakness for women led him into trouble repeatedly. He married a Philistine woman from Timnah against his parents' wishes, which led to a chain of conflicts and violence with the Philistines. At his wedding feast, Samson made a bet with the Philistine men, challenging them with a riddle about the honey in the lion's carcass. When they could not solve it, they threatened his bride, forcing her to betray him and reveal the answer. Furious, Samson killed 30 Philistines to settle the bet, further igniting tensions. This marriage ended in disaster, with Samson's wife eventually given to another man. But perhaps the most infamous chapter in Samson's life was his relationship with Delilah. After a series of battles and personal conflicts, Samson fell deeply in love with Delilah, a woman from the valley of Sorek. She was approached by the Philistine leaders, who offered her a fortune if she could discover the secret of Samson's strength. Time after time, Delilah begged Samson to reveal his secret. Each time he gave her a false answer, only to break free from her traps. But Samson's heart was divided. He was so infatuated that he didn't see the trap closing around him. Eventually, he revealed the truth. His strength lay in his uncut hair, a symbol of his Nazirite vow. While he slept, Delilah cut his hair, breaking his vow. When he awoke, he found that his strength was gone. The Philistines captured him, gouged out his eyes, and took him to Gaza, where he was humiliated, shackled, and forced to grind grain in prison. Blind and broken, Samson was at his lowest. Yet, in his suffering, he finally turned back to God. He prayed for strength one last time, and as his hair began to grow, so did his faith. His heart, once divided, was now fully committed to God. During a grand celebration, the Philistines brought Samson to a temple to mock him. He asked to be placed between the two main pillars, and with a final prayer, he called on God, saying, "Let me die with the Philistines." With all his might, Samson pushed the pillars, collapsing the temple and killing himself along with thousands of Philistines. Samson's life ended in sacrifice. Though flawed and prone to weakness, he ultimately fulfilled his purpose of weakening the Philistine hold over Israel. His final act was a testament to the power of redemption. Three life lessons we can take from Samson's life are: 1. Self-discipline. 2. Honor your gifts and calling. 3. Redemption is possible, even after great failure. Now let us discuss. Firstly, Samson had supernatural strength, but his life shows us that strength alone is not enough. Without self-control and accountability, even the mightiest among us can fall. Samson reminds us that true strength is not just about physical power. It's about mastering our impulses and being true to our purpose. Secondly, Samson was chosen and gifted by God, but he often took his strength for granted. He used it impulsively and carelessly. His story urges us to respect our gifts and remember that they are meant to serve a purpose greater than ourselves. Samson's disregard for his Nazirite vow reminds us of the importance of honoring the responsibilities that come with our talents. Lastly, even after his capture, blindness, and enslavement, Samson found redemption. In his final moments, he turned to God and fulfilled his purpose. His story teaches us that, no matter how far we fall, it's never too late to return to God and fulfill our purpose. Humility and faith can lead to redemption, even in our darkest moments. Samson's life is one of the Bible's most powerful stories, a tale of strength, failure, and redemption. It reminds us that no matter how gifted we are, we all have weaknesses. But with humility and faith, we can overcome even the greatest failures. Just as an extra, we can actually have a comparative look at life lessons from the life of Joseph, which was discussed in a previous post to that of Samson, which we have just discussed. Let's dive into it. Fault text. Now that we've walked through these stories, let's highlight some key lessons from the lives of Joseph and Samson, lessons we can apply in our own lives. Lesson 1. Stay faithful in every season. Joseph teaches us the power of faithfulness, even in times of hardship. Whether in a pit, a prison, or a palace, Joseph remained devoted to God, and this consistency brought him victory. Samson, on the other hand, reminds us that we're at our most vulnerable when we lose sight of our calling. Faithfulness is not just about big moments. It's about staying true to our values every day. Lesson 2. Guard your purpose against temptation. Joseph resisted temptation by focusing on his relationship with God and his purpose. Samson, however, allowed temptation to distract him from his calling. Their lives teach us to guard our purpose by staying focused and accountable. We can't afford to let fleeting pleasures lead us astray from what God has called us to do. Lesson 3. Redemption is always possible. Both stories end with redemption. Joseph forgave his brothers and brought healing, and even Samson, in his final act, turned back to God and fulfilled his purpose. No matter how far we fall, Samson reminds us that redemption is within reach. And like Joseph, we can choose to forgive and Joseph and Samson show us two sides of the human experience: faithfulness and failure, triumph and tragedy. Their stories remind us that our choices matter, that resilience and faith can carry us through, and that redemption is possible even after mistakes. We can choose to be like Joseph, staying faithful and focused, or we can learn from Samson's mistakes and guard our hearts against distractions. So, which lessons from Joseph and Samson's lives resonate with you? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more insights into biblical characters and their life lessons, Do not forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Once again, this is Goody All Gospel Channel. Thanks for watching and please do feel free to subscribe. God bless you all.